Well, hello and welcome once again to the DCL podcast, where we're inviting you to sit back, relax, and we'll be on our way shortly.
Well, welcome back to the DCL podcast, your podcast to cruise a little smarter. I'm your host, Lake, and I'm joined by my co-host, Christy. Christy, how are you today?
I am well. This is a very exciting day we have.
It is an exciting day. You're recording from an exciting place, too.
I am recording from an exciting place. I am in Disneyland, and presently I'm in the Grand Californian. I'm at a travel agent training for the week, and it is so great. I am loving it. The training is fantastic. We get to do like these fun little extras. But it was such a fun surprise this morning to have a few texts from friends saying, okay, your day's about to get busier because summer 2027 DCL itineraries which is like a holiday day. It's just such a fun day.
Yeah, I mean, summer itineraries for DCL is the banger of itineraries.
The pinnacle, if you will.
Yes.
Of itineraries. Yeah, these are the ones. These are the ones as podcasters you get excited about because there's fun, unique things happening. There's, it's just the rest of the year is often like rinse and repeat, but the summer usually has some fun extras thrown in. And rinse and repeat is fun, right? But summer is where it's at.
Absolutely. I am excited to get into this. Well, we will waste no more time. I think we are going to start probably at the least interesting and work our way up to the most interesting, which definitely starts with some of our shakeups here. We'll go ahead and begin with the dream and the fantasy. I think pretty easy to cover. We had already seen at the end of the winter release that the dream would be making its way to Port Canaveral, and it is taking back its spot with those 3 and 4 night sailings out of Port Canaveral.
It sure is. It is so interesting because, like, for me, when I analyze wanting to do like a little weekend cruise, I sort of now feel like I need to be on a wish class ship. But I also need to be on a wish class. That's a tongue twister today. A wish class ship from Port Canaveral. So it's funny how your mind just like, now it wants something different. Wants what it can't have.
I would not be upset about being able to hop on the Dream for a little 3 or 4 night sailing, though, only because I have not been on the Dream since my last, I think, 3 or 4 night sailing from Port Canaveral.
That is true. I haven't been on the Dream in a very long time, and I will be back on her, though, this summer. So I get to spend several nights, 9, maybe 8, a longer cruise on her this summer, which will be fun. But we're not here to talk about that. So there is, I think, a couple, or at least an interesting itinerary for the Dream. There are 2 weeks where she does a 3-night only going to Castaway and then having a day at sea. So we're not doing the usual, let's also go to Nassau. So that's kind of exciting just to have that little extra. I love sea day. If you can get a sea day on a 3-day cruise, that is perfection. And so there are 2 sailings that do that. But the rest are normal Nassau, Castaway.
Yeah, she does have a couple 4 nights that are the Castaway and Lookout itinerary with the day at sea. So you get to skip Nassau entirely. I think those are some nice ones to look out for as well.
Very nice.
But then let's go ahead and move into the fantasy. A little bit more variety, but still not a ton of like, wow, crazy different. Most notable is the fantasy does get the 10-night Southern Caribbean leaving July 11th. And that is starting and ending in Port Canaveral.
I think those Southern Caribbeans are always pretty exciting. And then to have one that is on the fantasy is extra special. This one does go, I would still argue, sometimes DCL and I have disagreements as to what constitutes a Southern. And I'm not sure that these ports of St. Martin, St. Lucia, Antigua, maybe Antigua, but Puerto Rico constitutes a Southern. That would be a pure Eastern if you ask me. But she also does go to Lighthouse and Castaway, which is exciting. But I would call this an Eastern Caribbean sailing if I was going to give it a label. It's just a 10-night Eastern Caribbean sailing, which is still exciting.
Something different out of Port Canaveral, too, which is nice.
Yeah, and then she's also doing some Western Caribbean sailings as well. So if you wanted to go to Castaway and Cozumel, that is nice. She has a few of those sailings. There is a 5-night The Fantasy for 2 different sailings. where you're doing a double dip to Castaway, and then you're also going to Lookout. That's a pretty exciting sailing. And then obviously we have the 3 and the 4 nights as well. Actually, only 4 nights.
Correct.
And 5 night fantasy.
Yeah, so nothing too crazy there outside of that Southern Caribbean, which brings us to the Treasure, which probably has the most cut and dry, actually the second most cut and dry of its itineraries. It is doing its 7-night westerns. It's doing its 7-night easterns. There's really no asterisks for interesting changes going on. They're doing their pretty typical Tortola and
St. Thomas, and then 3 days at sea for the Eastern. And then for the Western, she's doing Jamaica, Grand Cayman, Cozumel, and then 2 days at sea. Yeah, just her normal Eastern Western.
Yeah, and speaking of the Destiny, left alone in Fort Lauderdale with no sister ship down there right now. So she is doing a variety of 3, 4, 5, and then most notably some cool 7 nights she's got going on. She does have some 7-night westerns, which follow the same routine of Lookout, Jamaica, Grand Cayman, and Cozumel. But then she's got some pretty interesting 7-night Eastern. And then she's got these 2 offs of Castaway, Lookout, San Juan, and then the Dominican Republic and 2 days at sea, which I think those are pretty cool looking.
Yeah, that's exciting. So yeah, she has those couple of sailings that are doing the Eastern where it goes to San Juan and then Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. I'm actually going, and then Castaway and Lookout. I'm actually going to the Dominican Republic port for spring break at a different cruise line. And so I'll see more about it. But I understand there's like a pool in that port area and there's some other stuff right there. So that does give you something to do if you don't want to do like a whole excursion as well. And then the Destiny also has a double dip. But their double dip, and there's only one sailing, 5-night as well. Their double dip goes to Lookout twice and then Castaway once. So it's like an opposite double dip.
Sounds like a pretty good sailing, though. Not going to lie.
You know, double dips, the thing, I've been talking about them for years. For a family or for somebody looking for a relaxing cruise. And if it's a first cruise even, it's like a peak cruise experience. You don't have a bunch of port expenses that you're going to pay doing excursions. It really gives you a good, like, Disney sort of taking care of you the whole time because you're at their beach destinations. You don't have extra food if you're going to be gone all day. It's just really, these are lovely first-time cruiser itineraries or people looking for like a lovely, relaxing vacation.
And they are lovely, relaxing vacations.
They really are.
Well, let's go ahead and get a little more adventurous.
Exactly. A little opposite of relaxing. We're starting to get a little more active in our itineraries.
Let's go ahead and head up north and cover Alaska. We can go ahead and start with the Wonder. The Wonder, unfortunately, does not have a lot of variety, but it does have a good sailing.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so the Wonder is just doing 7-night cruises. They're all exactly the same. No asterisks, no differences. You're getting your glacier viewing, which could vary depending on your sailing. But then you have Skagway, Juneau, Ketchikan, and your 2 days at sea. Amazing Alaskan itinerary, you know, as the Wonder always has.
I love it. I love this itinerary, honestly.
It is a good one. And then the sister ship, the Magic, is also making its way back to Alaska. A little more variety in its sailings. A couple that are a little bit less interesting than that standard 7-night that the Wonder does. It's got a set of 6 nights that do glacier viewing, Icy Strait Point, and then Ketchikan. I strongly dislike those itineraries. I don't think that one is very strong at all.
Well, and there's only one that does that. So, and that could work if you had other stuff you were working into your schedule or whatever. I think we both, when 2 ships were coming to Alaska, I think we both really wanted there to be one-way cruises coming out of DCL, which we're just not getting at this time. But maybe we can dream, maybe 1 year. This, at least in theory, makes it a little bit more affordable and a little bit easier to get on just because there's more options.
I don't disagree with that. And you could definitely have a great Alaskan sailing on any of these, but then it does have a set of standard 7 nights. Its standard 7 nights are the Glacier Viewing, Skagway, Icy Strait, and Ketchikan. So you're basically trading Juneau from the Wonder for Icy Strait. You know, Juneau is definitely the strongest port, but if whale watching is what you're looking for, and that's something you would have done in Juneau, you can get a very similar experience in Icy Strait because they are very, very close and offer a similar accommodation for that. But then
I'm pretty sure they go to the same place to get their whale watching.
Yeah, they are super close on the map when you look at it. So just similar populations of whales in that same area. And then the Magic, though, is getting the one-off longer sailing. It is an 8-night. And that one is June 22nd. That one is the Glacier Viewing, Skagway, Icy Strait, Sitka, and Ketchikan. I do think that is a pretty strong sailing. I know you don't get Juneau out of it, but Sitka is a pretty cool port, one we don't really get to discuss too often because Disney only sails to it maybe once a year.
Did you go to, you went to Sitka on your NCL cruise?
I did, and I really enjoyed Sitka.
And it was also, which I don't actually think it was made in Sitka, but it was the backdrop of The Proposal, the movie with Sandra Bullock, which is so cute. And anybody going to Alaska should just watch that movie because you can hear her say Alaska. I love that line from that movie. So anyway, go to Sitka. I want to go to Sitka one day.
Yeah, and then we will head across the Pacific real quick because this is actually probably truly the most uninteresting of the cruises because this is a ship is the destination type of sailing. The Disney Adventure is doing 3 and 4 nights at sea, all day, every day at sea. So nothing new or changing over there.
And, you know, staying on this topic of these Asian itineraries or Asian cruise ships, I just want to say really quick, in my training today, they did seem to indicate that when the Oriental Land Company ship that'll be based in Japan comes out, that in theory, we in the States would be able to book it the same way as every other Disney cruise line. Now, traditionally with like the Asian parks, we haven't been able to do that where we as Disney Travel Company could book it, but they seem to think we could. Now, I don't know if this was just misspeaking, but that'll be interesting if it's going to be a similar like abilities, because that would open up the Japanese market via cruise ship for a lot more Americans, if you ask me. So that could be interesting. So that'll be something to keep in mind. Has not coming out yet. I think that ship, they even said they didn't even like, there's no hull number or anything. There might be a hull number, but there's no steel laid at this point for that ship. But that'll be something to keep in mind. Now, let's go to, I think, the pinnacle of a summer 2027 itinerary. And that doesn't mean that's what you have to do, right? These other itineraries are fabulous. But the most interest, I guess, the places that are maybe the most unique and where the sailings are varying ports and countries and destinations, let's go to Europe. And as we stated, what ship is going to be in Europe?
The good old, not even old, the new and shiny Disney Wish is getting its chance to broaden its horizons and leave Port Canaveral for the first time. Super excited to see this ship out there and for people to have the opportunity to spend more than 3 and 4 nights on the ship without doing it back to back. I really think that people will like this will change kind of how some people think about the Wish, being able to spend more time on them and like really get to live in that ship a little bit longer. This starts off, of course, with your transatlantic. You got to get over there. It leaves from Port Canaveral and ends in Barcelona. Leaving from Port Canaveral, it's got a 13-night eastbound transatlantic. And this one will be going to Portugal, Gibraltar, and then it's got an overnight in Spain, which I think is pretty cool. And of course, plenty of sea days with 9 sea days.
That's amazing. I can't even make the words come out because to think 9 sea days for some reason on the Wish is even more interesting to me. Like, I'm so curious to see what they're going to come up with, what they're going to do to entertain people. Are they going to open up the kids clubs for adult only takeovers, which they would do with the longer cruises with multiple sea days? So, like, how cool would it be to be adults taking over the kids club. So it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I cannot wait to hear about someone that does one of those transatlantics on the Wish and just see what fun things you can get up to on the Wish with that much time.
Yeah, someone is definitely going to have to come on the show to give us that trip report.
Yeah, and then we've got all sorts of different Mediterranean and Greek Isle sailings. Really a lot of variety here. A couple newish like changes and some new ports they're going to.
Yeah, per usual, she is going to start in Barcelona, which is, I feel like, typically where we are starting our European sailings each summer. So there are some May dates leaving out of Barcelona. But she pretty quickly, too, does these like one-ways where they have Barcelona to Italy. And that one is at the end of May, where you're going to Malta and to Greece. And then there is a stop in Naples. I just think that 9-night is a great itinerary. I mean, you're going to Athens, too. If you're going to Greece, especially for the first time, going to Athens, I think, is just that much extra special because there is so much history there. It's such an amazing location. So after the repositioning, she then is doing, typically, in my opinion, I've always seen her start in Barcelona and stay there longer. And now she's only doing one cruise, but then is coming back into July and doing more cruises in July out of Barcelona, which to me is a change. But again, I could be wrong, where she just does the one and then moves over. But she is then going to be focusing on cruises that leave from Rome for a few weeks. And those are going to be varying lengths of Greek Isle cruises. And then there's one of the Adriatic Sea in Greece. That itinerary is interesting because I don't know that we've ever seen a Disney ship go Trieste. Yeah, Trieste. And then it's got 2 stops in Croatia, 1 in Greece at Corfu. So, I mean, that June 7th sailing is kind of incredible. It's pretty unique. Venice is an amazing city. And to just be able to go to a city, like to go to those canals, it's really cool.
The Zadar, Croatia port is also a completely brand new port. DCL has never gone there.
Yeah, so this is exciting. Like, that's a really good itinerary. Then she's doing Greek Isles cruises, which is maybe more one that she repeats pretty regularly to these ports, but Hania, Santorini, which I think is fantastic, Rhodes, Mykonos, and then Naples, getting yourself a little bit of pizza, going to Pompeii or Herculaneum as a port stop like that is also an incredible itinerary. These are really good itineraries.
Yeah, really upping the game in the Greece Isles type of sailings, too. I mean, we used to get like 2 Greek Isle sailings, and they were like your big summer, oh, look. And then you had a lot of kind of rinse and repeat Mediterraneans. That is really no longer the case. It's really all about these Greek Isle sailings. Like your more traditional Mediterraneans are really few and far between now.
They really are. Like the Western Med used to just be the, like you said, the traditional cruise for them. But I'm really happy that they're trying out. They're going to many more ports. There's July 23rd. They're going to Sicily. That one is a 10-night cruise with 4 sea days. That's kind of amazing, too. Going to Athens, Mykonos, Rhodes, Hania, and then Sicily. Incredible.
I feel like that's a lot of sea days for a Greek Isles, though.
I know, but you know what? You need it because you're going to be running around. Like Athens in late June is going to be 100,000 degrees, and you need to go to the Acropolis. You need to go to the Acropolis. I mean, you don't need to, right? But you need to go to the Acropolis. It's just so amazing. And you're climbing up there. So you need like a break after that. So some sea days is not the end of the world. I love a good sea day, especially in Europe.
Yeah, and then it has one more 10-night Greek Isle sailing on June 23rd. That one is going to be the repositioning to end in Barcelona. Again, stacked with so many amazing ports.
So that one does end you back in Barcelona, where you then hit a couple of their sort of 7-night Western Med, which is their current, which is the old normal. And now we only have a few of those sailings. But they are going to Spain. I mean, they're in Spain, but they're actually the port. And I think that's new. except that there is one of the sailings that's going to Milan, Genoa, and that would be a new port, in my opinion. I mean, they may have gone there at some point, but it's not one that I see come up ever. So that would be different. And then also Naples, Civitavecchia, which is Rome, but an hour and a half away. Livorno, which is Florence, but also an hour and a half or 2 hours away. So that one you're going to hit. You're going to be spending some time on trains or buses, but you get to go to really cool cities.
But then the Wish does depart from the Mediterranean to finish out its European season over in Southampton. So it repositions with that 6-night Western Europe, which is such a cool cruise. We did that show with Brian, who did this cruise last year, and just sounded absolutely spectacular. But basically going along the coast of Spain and stopping in Portugal with 2 days at sea. Again, starting in Spain and ending in the UK is just, you get a whole cool different view of Europe with that whole sailing experience.
Yeah, I love it. And then we get to go to Norway, which I was worried that we weren't going to get Norway because I was worried about the size of the ship. So I'm happy to see that there's actually 3 touches into Norway by the Disney Wish, 3 different sailings. So we have 7-night Norwegian fjords, then it follows by a second 7-night Norwegian fjords. Each of them have different ports. Some overlap, but that'll be something you'll want to look at your schedule. Norway was amazing. You also were there and we hiked the same mountain. It's just, there's nothing like Norway, in my opinion. I mean, Alaska's pretty special, but there's nothing like Norway. So those are great cruises. And then the illustrious British Isles that didn't get to occur last summer because of weather. That one is going to go to, how do we say that? Greenock, which is Glasgow and Edinburgh, Scotland, Liverpool, Belfast, Stonehenge, England, 2 days at sea. Then she does this new Northern Europe itinerary, which is going to Rotterdam, Netherlands, Christian, Norway, Copenhagen, and then Skagen, Denmark. I should have just sent in 2 Denmark ports. But that one is new and unique and exciting just because it's new. Yeah, I love this. I love this itinerary. And in the fall, I think it'll be pretty incredible.
Yeah. And then there is a short stint, though, kind of between those sailings where the ship does some of its Magic at Sea style. So it's got some 3-night sailings to Zeebrugge, Belgium, which honestly, now that I've been to Bruges, Belgium, that sounds amazing. I would go back to Bruges in a heartbeat, but then it does a couple ones that take you to Rotterdam as well. So definitely. Oh, and then it's got some little Spain ones as well where it goes to La Coruna.
Yeah. And if you're going to Rotterdam, something unique that I did on my river cruise, we went to the Delft Museum, which is near to that and is actually just an incredible museum where you get to see the like handmade dishware. It's just something super unique. It'd be something great to do that short sailing. Or if you do the 7-night Northern.
Tons of amazing sailings.
It's a good summer. I mean, there is a lot to be excited about and just a lot of fantastic sailings. And this is really, really exciting for a summer European release, if you ask me.
I agree. I cannot wait to book something.
Will you actually book it, do you think, when your booking window opens? You're not really usually a book when your booking window opens kind of person, unless it's like, go to these new private islands.
Yeah, that is very true. We'll see. I don't know, depending on what we decide to book. I mean, I think I know what we're looking at based off of the timeline, but we'll see. I wouldn't expect that one to sell out.
No.
But if you are not willing to risk it, you can book these on opening day. You can preferably reach out to your travel agent, or if you do not currently work with someone, Christy, how can our listeners get a hold of you?
You can find me at packyourpixiedust.com, or in the show notes, I have a booking link, and I would be happy to help you. I will be back from California in plenty of time, but I'd be happy to help you get something booked and help you pick the itinerary and the sailing that's
proper for your traveling party.
Yeah. And if you are looking to book these right away, Pearl can begin booking Monday, February 16th. Platinum can book Tuesday, February 17th. Gold Castaway can book Wednesday, February 18th. Silver, Disney Vacation Club and Adventure Insiders can book Thursday, February 19th. And then general registration will open Monday, February 23rd.
And some notes, you can only book one cabin at a time when it's time for these releases. And if you are working with a travel agent, especially if you're new to working with them, they're going to need your Castaway Club number, which is different because typically we can get your number once we do the booking. But on those release days, we will need your number because we have to enter it to unlock those sailings. And then first-time cruisers who have not booked a Disney cruise before or are not Disney Vacation Club members or Adventure Insiders can book starting on February 23rd. And those are usually at 8 a.m., all of those different booking windows.
They are still at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah, so this is pretty exciting.
Yeah, what a good set of releases that they have cooked up for us.
I'm excited for this release. I don't know if I'll book anything. I have a pretty big milestone birthday in
Summer of 2027.
but unfortunately my son will be back to school for the actual birthday. And then we are doing an epic trip on a different cruise line to the Galapagos in 2027.
So I'm not sure
What my summer,
will hold as far as Disney Cruise Line, but I feel like for like a major milestone birthday, I should go on Disney Cruise Line.
so I need to figure that out.
I don't doubt that you will find your way on one of these sailings, Christy. I have a hunch.
I also am like,
Really easily peer pressured into things. So if I have friends going on a sailing, I'm much more likely to figure out a way to get myself there.
Love it. Well, Christy, where can our listeners follow you?
You can follow me all over the internet at Pack Your Pixie Dust. Lake, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube at MouseGen, and you can follow the podcast on Instagram and Facebook at DCO Podcast, or find more information at dcopodcast.com. But that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next time on the DCO Podcast. Bye, guys.
Hi, everyone.
The DCL podcast is not affiliated with the Disney Cruise Line, Walt Disney Company, Adventures by Disney, or Run Disney. All of the opinions expressed on our shows are those of the hosts and the guests who appear on the show. If you have any questions about any of these products, please contact the Walt Disney Company.